So I'm laid off for the winter, and I don't have a whole hell of a lot else to do. I am working with some locals on starting a prescribed burn group. This has nothing to do with it. This is just kind of an area I go to cut firewood. It's my neighbor's property, and he said he'd like it actually if somebody did, because then you're not getting a big fire hazard thing going on. And well, and then he also said if I wanted, I could make trails and all that too. He's got a little side-by-side himself. He's in his 70s, but whatever. So I started this trail year before last, kind of in the late fall. I had a little bit of a footpath back here, just following an old deer trail. And so I followed it with a chainsaw or hand tools, often just my pruning shears. I got those big Fiskars pruning shears, which are awesome for all the brush. And then I wanted to widen it out so I could get back here with the quad. And so I came back here with the mini excavator with a mulcher on it after I checked with Marvin that it was okay. And so I came back here with that, and I blazed a path back here. Sometimes it's quite wide, but some places were already kind of like a little meadow, almost like right in here. And I just went back here for quite a distance. It's a little bit hard to walk on this stuff. It's not deep, but it's just, you keep breaking through. And then I also went down there, and there's some firewood I cut back there, but because it's kind of swampy, some of it was a little bit rotten. So he ended up leaving, 10 feet of trunk behind because it's rotten right through the middle. So now I don't have the mini excavator anymore, which is kind of sad, and I'm frustrated by it because otherwise it would be great back here. And I had bought that grapple for it, and I still can't sell the grapple. And the grapple was fantastic for working back here because you could use it like a rake. It had 5 tines on it, or 5 fingers kind of thing. And then you could just rake all the brush up from mulching and all the deadfall and then pile it up. And that's what I had here. Now most of that stuff's burnt down. This is stuff I've been adding on throughout the day here, throughout the afternoon. And it was great just being able to pick and sort. If you had something that was going to be decent for firewood, you just put it in one pile, and because you can rotate, you can maneuver stuff through the trees. And so I had stacked up a pretty good pile here. Not real big or anything, but I mean, it just meant that I could at least, it took a lot less time to clean up an area without taking all the nice trees out, like these oak trees and that. So, yeah. The brush mulcher was kind of a pain in the ass. It did work to some extent, but, you've got stuff that's bent over, and like these oak trees are always really tough. And so you kind of ended up with spears like that. And it just didn't do a great job of mulching stuff down. Same with the poplars. It's not like that big disc mulcher that I use working for CT. The disc mulcher is perfect actually for stuff like this, because you could just clean right down to the ground, provided you didn't have a big rock. Like there's one right underneath the snow here. But you could just get right down to the ground and not have these little pungy sticks kind of thing, puncturing tires and that. So I'm kind of glad I don't have the mulcher to deal with anymore. I wanted to get one of the European ones, or the new ProMac one that's made for mini excavators, but the work wasn't coming in. So what are you going to do? You got to get rid of the machine. It's over $2,000 a month, and then you got insurance on top of it, and you have to have insurance, blah blah blah. So I did find a buyer for it, and the guy's using it for sewer and water work. The mulcher just sits. That's fine. I think it'll just go to Ritchie Brothers like everything else. And my grapple, it just sits too, so I'll end up paying it off and taking it to Ritchie Brothers, I think, at some point. So kind of a shame and a little bit frustrating. The grapple was really good. I like the grapple. And nothing better than a rotating grapple. Better than a bucket and a thumb. So any other traco operator will know what I'm talking about. But yeah, for working back here, that was just perfect. So cut stuff up with the chainsaw a little bit, like some of these sticks. I'm going to do some of that tomorrow, and then keep throwing it in a pile and keep the fire stoked, and can eliminate some of the fuel in case somebody does decide to light a fire back here or something happens. Because stuff does happen sometimes, unfortunately. So yeah, this has kind of been a little bit of a winter project when I can get back here. I've been sick on and off, mostly on since I don't know, a few days before Christmas. So finally I did another bout of antibiotics, and I'm feeling a lot better. Oh, and also what do you call it? I had a type of steroid too to help with the non-stop coughing. So I'm doing a lot better. But yeah, one of the winter projects we're working on is starting a prescribed burn association for our municipality and area, I guess. This is kind of the last stand of tall grass prairie in this area. This is just basically a little island of forest here. But you don't have to go very far from here, and it's kind of, it looks like scrubby prairie, but that's kind of how it used to be. And every now and then you get a year where you get a whole bunch of bushfires and that, and it just rages through the land because the area hasn't had a fire in God knows how long. So it's time to kind of start bringing fire back on the land, but in a little more of a controlled manner. So we're working with some groups from, one group is from Saskatchewan, University of Saskatchewan, I think it's called. And I always want to say University of Regina, but it's just, I think one of the campuses is in Regina. And then there's another group that's based out of Saskatoon that we're working with, and we're getting training through them, and I think through Nature Conservancy as well, because they own a lot of the tall grass prairie that's still back in these areas. This is just private land here, so I'm just cleaning up all the big sticks and that, and then whatever I can salvage for firewood, I save it for firewood. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.